Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. 2020 has been quite the year. It is now December and I would love to share with you my feelings on 2020 and all the ups and downs that came with it. So if you want to hear more about that, let's get started. January 2020. I remember writing in my journal, I said, you know what, this is going to be the year of boundaries. I've got my dream team. I had a great team meeting in the second week of January. I was announcing how we were going to do everything. We were going to divide and conquer. We were going to be unstoppable clinic, unstoppable team in 2020. And the crazy part about that was how optimistic I was. I mean, again, for me, I'm a numbers girl. I thought, oh, 2020, it's such a cool thing. Start of a new decade, start of a new year. Like, let's inspire everybody. This huge, empowering kind of, I was so positive. Like, I've probably never been more positive. So I was very happy. And then by the end of January into February, we unexpectedly lost 2 team members. So immediately, some part of my bubble burst. I was like, oh, I guess I don't have that dream team, but I can still do it. I was excited. I was going to be lecturing in Miami for the Aligned Faculty meeting, and I was going to be attending the very first ever Digital Smile Design Masters meeting in Madrid in March. So I still had lots of optimism. I was sort of on my way, and we were looking for new team members. We did a little shuffle of the deck here, and everybody covered off, and still going really great. March 15th. Oh boy. Everybody knows that week. Everybody remembers what they were doing. Everybody knows how their lives came to a complete halt. And it was initially disbelief. I mean, I probably did 2 or 3 videos just on that alone on my YouTube channel of how I started, how I was feeling at that time. So, and now again, looking back at it, it really was a pivotal point. Again, wanting to inspire everybody, wanting to show, to be that leader, I suddenly had to pick myself up off the floor, and it was not fun. Another thing I wanted for 2020, besides the boundaries and having this great dream team, was to be fit. I wanted to be mentally fit, physically fit. I had worked with a coach on this as well, and I was ready to go. And I was like, how am I going to ever now get this goal? So it didn't even sink in, I don't think, until probably the end of March, maybe the beginning of April. And I started to kind of break down a little bit. My husband's hardly never, maybe once, seen me cry in 22 years, I think. He didn't know what to do with me. He's like, what's wrong? Can you get it together? I don't know. He just couldn't believe, and he didn't understand. But for me, I felt like I had this team I had to kind of keep uplifted. I couldn't let them down. They were all laid off. But yet I just didn't feel, I was so scared. I didn't know we couldn't get dental supplies. Even if we were to reopen, we weren't going to be able to. I had to create new systems, new policies, all these things, which I could do. I had time, but at the same time, it was just that unknown. And I had a couple patients that really needed to see me, and I was just so scared. Everybody was scared. Nobody was like, well, you really shouldn't bring anybody into the clinic. So it was very, it was not a good time. Even after I reached out to some colleagues, they were feeling unsure too. So when everything, again, had seemed so great, I really feel like I couldn't even believe in myself how I was feeling, because I never really felt that way. And I was like, whoa, this was going to be my year. Now, if anybody knows me, I love dentistry. I have a huge passion for it. But I will say I had thoughts of, what else can I do? I swear I did feel that way. I thought, I can maybe do something else digitally, or I don't have to do this anymore. I think it's always good to know, and to kind of sort through and think about what it is, what your strengths are, because some days your very profession could be taken from you. So I know this seems really dreaded or crazy, but I felt that way. And but then slowly, very slowly, each week things got a little better. One of the things I did is I hired a business coach, Allison Lacourciere, to kind of say, look, maybe there are some things we can do here. What are some things we can do both as a team? What are some things we can do as a, personally from a business standpoint? And how is this going to really impact? How can this help us so we can have a head start and have a great, hit the ground running when we do open? Because honestly, Peggy, you are going to reopen, and it started to get to feel like it wasn't going to reopen. But then when I realized, okay, let's really get a game plan. Once we did that, I started to feel a little bit better. So things started to feel a little better because I had a little bit of, I had someone who could see what I needed and help me lead my team better. So that just became the first sort of breakthrough. And I think it's important that, I wish every dentist had found somebody like Allison, or had someone that they could say, you know what, it's going to be okay. This is what we're going to do. So that definitely helped me a lot. But I also felt like I somehow got some air in my lungs. And once I did, my team as well, they were really responsive to, wanting to get back to work. And that made me feel better. So one of the things we did during the pandemic was to do for our hygiene patients that weren't going to be seeing us, we did door drop-offs, again, COVID friendly drop-offs, and we did a little video. We made a video. We created a new mission statement that for the team or for the clinic, that we were going to come back together as a team and come back together, stronger, better than ever. And it started to knowing that they were happy and they were starting to feel a little better, even though everybody was nervous. It really inspired me too. And so then I thought, you know what? This could happen again. We could have a second wave. What are things that are happening right now that are super inconvenient? And one of them was that our Invisalign patients, we were having to try to get aligners to them, week after week. We ended up joining with a company called Dental Monitoring and implemented that into our new protocols in 2020, so that our patients now, if we were shut down or if we couldn't see them, everybody can be completely monitored through virtual artificial intelligence, and probably even better than my eyes can pick up. So if someone's not tracking with their Invisalign, they can actually get a message from me, from the clinic, saying that, you just need to wear your aligners a couple more days, or you can move ahead even sooner than you thought. So really happy that we did that. In doing so, it was also our 5-year anniversary. And it's it's our 5-year anniversary. I really want to celebrate. I want to do something really special. So one of the things that we did was we did a promotion where we would be offering the biggest deal on Invisalign that I had ever had. But it was all going to have to be done virtually. So we implemented virtual consults. That's another huge thing we did in 2020, and created it to be a very seamless sort of process. So the workflow for the team and the workflow, or the way the patient experienced how they had to set up the virtual consult with me to how I actually performed the virtual consults, was very slick. And I definitely have to give Quincy Hall a great shout out for that, because she helped tremendously create all the forms, and we did everything ourselves. So we also got much more experience with what's called HubSpot, when some other digital apps and things like that, so that everything was tracked and everything was really perfected. One thing I forgot to mention is that in 2020, right before the pandemic, we finished our website. Our website had been under construction, and we had done some major things to it. So by the time the actual pandemic hit, we had better ways to communicate with our patients than our website would have been capable of before. So if you haven't done that with your website, or if you don't have your website, up, get it ready, because something can happen and you might need to be able to adapt with it. So we did the dental monitor. We did the promotion for our patients, and we did 32 cases of Invisalign that were all had a deposit made for their Invisalign. I just was going to have to bring them in when we did open, do their exam, make sure all the records were there, and make sure they were the candidate that I thought they were. And we actually hit the ground running right in the first 2 weeks of opening. So by I think it was the first week of June, we had actually already had 32 cases of Invisalign already ready to go. And as you know, one of the things about being Invisalign provider is being able to do a lot of cases so that we can be even better than, you know, we were in the past. And I personally love doing Invisalign because it allows me to really control the aesthetics. I can do a much nicer job doing veneers and things like that, but I can also improve people's health and their bite and their sleep and all kinds of things. So being able to do that many cases in a short period actually helped propel us into, now here we are, and going to jump ahead into December, becoming a platinum provider of Invisalign. So that's a huge goal that we're reaching here in New Brunswick, and we're the first general practitioners in New Brunswick to reach that level of Invisalign cases. So yay, super excited. So so we did that. Then of course we had to have our vacations. We, you know, July, August, we wanted our team to still have a break. We had been off, but we really hadn't been off in the summer months. Here in Canada, it's a short summer, and I still wanted to have time with my family. So those boundaries and things that I had set, and the mindset that I was going to become physically and mentally fit still had to happen for me. And so in August, I did this 28-day challenge with a local business called Afterburn Performance, and it was like, wow. So it made me like up my game on, you know, being prepared with my meals and being more focused with my exercise and things like that. I've always exercised and believed in that, but it really kicked me in the pants, and it was hard, but it really got me going. So then when I headed into the fall, I really felt like, even though I'm not like on the same kind of strictness of the challenge, a lot of good habits were formed. So in 2020, I have to say, great, you know, very good habits. My routines are down, my nighttime, my morning routines. I actually did a video on that recently as well. So if you want to check out that, then do so. But I certainly think that those are the things that got me through. And then getting into the fall, it's like, oh my gosh, now as a business, we lost 10 weeks of business. So how are we going to catch up? You know, we still have a lot of bills to pay. Dental supplies and dental materials are now much higher than they used to be, and we have to do things slower, so we can't have as many patients in the clinic. So despite all that, I have to say I was very proud, because again, we had to bring back on the 2 team members that we had lost, and we were able to still reach the similar goals that we had even beyond what we had in the previous year. So I am happy to say, like I said, we're still doing things in a way that I envision, which is at a pace that's reasonable for us and the patient. We're a slow dentistry clinic, so we want to make sure that our patients are cared for in a very safe way. So from disinfection to, you know, education and consent, but also being able to provide like world-class dentistry. You know, we became a digital smile design clinic just a year ago, and since then we have been able to implement a workflow or a way to present treatment to our patients that we hadn't before. And I didn't say this about February, but my 2 of my team members went to Miami in February as well, a different trip, and they became DSD coordinators. And Suzanne Keynes and Crystal Mitten, they really absolutely just thrived, and they are doing so well. They have a system down so that our patients get to test drive their smiles, and we're doing so many of those cases. In fact, a lot of our patients through the virtual consult process are now seeing this is to what they want to experience. So the clinic is sort of transformed in 2020 to more and more cosmetic dentistry, full mouth rehabilitation, and smile rehabilitation, just what I wanted. And in addition to that, I've become, again, stronger, better. My team's become stronger, better. And we have so many more digital workflows. So from our marketing standpoint, to how patients get into the clinic, to how they're treated once they're here, to how the actual dentistry is performed. So a complete A to Z digital workflow that, honestly, if we hadn't been closed for all that time, I wouldn't have had the time to really, implement, create the things that Quincy and I did during the closure that now are going to be these permanently etched great protocols and systems that are going to take me much further into the next few years than I ever would have if I hadn't been closed. So in lots of ways, I don't want to say it sort of sounds crazy, but I really am appreciative of the time and grateful for the time that I did have during the closure. Although I had my low moments, I really feel that without that and that wanting to kind of claw back to, you know, to the top, I wouldn't be where I am. So it's made me better as a person, as a mom. I have more time. I take more time with my kids than I ever have. I also have a healthier business, and hopefully, you know, I can inspire other dentists and help more patients in a way that is, you know, good and offers the best that dentistry can. So that's how 2020 has been for me. I would love to hear from any of you, or if you have any more questions about some of the things that I touched on. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel so you do not miss another episode. And until next time, take care.